And keep it hooping and hollering as Glenna comes up to the stage. Come on, Glenna.
Yes. Big round of applause. Many years ago, our 10-year-old daughter, dear sweet Megan, was taking voice lessons from a highly regarded vocal coach we called the lovely Corinne, who also happened to be our neighbor. Corinne was constantly on the lookout for performance opportunities for her students, so we were meeting ourselves coming and going, running from one event to the next. And at this particular event, the plan was that half the vocalist would perform, there would be an intermission, and then the remainder would sing. Because of a previously scheduled appointment for dear sweet Megan, it was necessary that she sing in the first group so we could leave at intermission to get to the appointment. So she sang, intermission came, I stood to leave, and as I was exiting my row, there stood the lovely Corinne, just like this, talking to herself. Who do we have left to sing? Tanis Hansen, Amy Hansen, Georgia Christopher, Cindy Nichols, and Porgy Moore. And I said, in exactly this tone of voice, as though it were the most hideous name I had ever heard, Porgy Moore? Whereupon this darling girl sitting really near me stood up, turned, flashed a great big smile, and said, Porgy Moore, that's me. Strange name, I know. It's Italian. Well, I felt as though a little chit-chat might be in order to maybe gloss over my faux pas, so I told her how disappointed we were that we had to leave and we wouldn't get to hear her sing. And I also learned that she was a student at Loveland High School. So I didn't have a child at Loveland High at that time, but many of my friends did. So in the ensuing weeks, I think I asked all of them if they knew this pretty girl with a very odd name. Do you know Porgy Moore? No. Do you know Porgy Moore? No. Nobody knew Porgy. Then Corinne received a phone call from a local retirement community asking her to bring students to sing at a party they were having. So of course she was all over that. She got on the phone, rounded up a little crew of singers, gave them the appointed date and time, and when that day came, she called me and she said, no sense taking 2 cars down there. Come to my house, I'll drive. So Corinne was driving and she reached in her purse and pulled out a pad of paper and a pen, and she handed it back to her 14-year-old daughter and said, Sonia, write down these names. This will be the order of today's performance. Tanis Hansen, Megan Murdock, Sonia Walker, the Walker brothers, and Porgy Moore. And I'm thinking, great, I'm finally going to get to hear Porgy sing. Well, the first 4 sang their songs, and we were down to the last one, who was, of course, Porgy Moore. And as Porgy was making her way to the front of the room, Corinne stepped up to the microphone and said, our final number today, an aria from the opera The Marriage of Figaro, will be sung by Wendy Pulis. Who? No, that's Porgy Moore. Corinne has told me twice. Porgy herself said, Porgy Moore, that's me. I don't know who this Wendy person is, but that is Porgy Moore. And then it was Porgy's turn to come to the microphone, and she began to sing, far better than I'm going to now. My apologies, I'm not a singer. But I think you can imagine my jaw dropping, just a little bit, when the first words out of her mouth were these. Porgy amor, qualche ristoro. Oh, crap! Her name isn't Porgy Moore, but the first line of her song sure sounds a whole lot like it. It's like, no wonder no one knew Porgy. She didn't exist. Instantly, dear sweet Megan is beside me, saying, Mom, I was so embarrassed. I told Tennis that Porgy Moore was getting ready to sing, and she laughed at me. She said, her name isn't Porgy Moore, it's Wendy Pulis. I was so embarrassed. Oh, great. Now, dear not-so-sweet Megan was angry at me because I gave her some misinformation that she passed along to someone who really knew what was going on. That person laughed at her. She's humiliated. And now, of course, I scarred her for life. But am I the person she should be angry with? I think not. I think the lovely Corinne bears most of the responsibility for this little fiasco because not once, but twice, she made verbal lists that I clearly heard that went like this. Name of singer, 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 singer. One would think name of singer. No, name of song. Name of singer, 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 singer. Name of song? Who does that? As I see it, my only mistake was not hearing the in Porgy Moore, which, by the way, is Italian. It means something like poor love, or, in the case of the lovely Corinne, poor list-making skills. But there are two bright spots in this for me. One, I got not just a second chance, but many, many more chances to humiliate dear sweet Megan in the years before she went off to college. And two, Wendy Pulis is married to an attorney living in Utah, raising 4 gorgeous children. And every year at Christmas, we exchange family photos and Christmas letters. And every year, she signs hers, Love, Porgy.